Hello and welcome back to the Navigating Baby Loss podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Senn. And as always, I'm so grateful that you're here with me today. This time of year can feel incredibly hard for you. It's the last week of the year, which seems impossible. I don't even know how that's happening, but you might be feeling a huge sigh of relief that you made it through the holiday season. You can take a deep breath and you're done, right? Thank goodness that does not have to happen again for a while. You made it, but not so fast. Now, I'm going to tell you, I am never one to actively bring in negativity here. But there is one thing I need to talk to you about today that I experienced myself and so many of my clients have experienced, and it really can catch you by surprise. I have a plan for you. I'm not going to leave you hanging. What I'm talking about is that lost moms, stillbirth moms, have a fear of leaving your baby in the previous year as you're moving into a new year. I know it seems crazy because it is just a date on the calendar. Nothing changes except the calendars. So it's just a new day, just like every other day. When my twins were stillborn at 32 weeks, they were born on November 5th. We sailed right into Thanksgiving a couple weeks later. I faked my way through Christmas that year because I had two little boys and a husband who desperately wanted me to be normal again. I breathed a huge sigh of relief that I had made it. I could finally put all of this holiday stuff behind me and just hibernate the rest of the winter like I wanted to. There wouldn't be any more triggering holidays, any more of this mother baby stuff that I had to subject myself to until Mother's Day, or so I thought. And just like that, New Year's Eve kicked me right in the teeth. I never saw it coming. I quickly learned as I spoke to other lost parents and anyone grieving any type of loss that this is a common feeling, super painful. I'm with you. I get it. It seems super irrational. It's just that number on the calendar. Nothing actually changes and nothing really changes around you. It's a day and night just like any other day. But the transition to a new year can really make you feel anxious, sad, and guilt. Guilt's everywhere, right? But as you wrestle with the idea of leaving behind the year when you lost your baby, maybe it's been 10 years, but every year it's one more year further away from the time that you saw your baby. So it is something that really needs some thought and some intentionality. So that's what I'm here for today. If you've ever thought, how can I move forward when I feel like I'm leaving my baby behind? You're not alone. I'm going to talk to you about why it happens, how you can take your baby with you and set up something that allows you to take your baby into the new year with you so that you're not feeling that anxiety. So as the calendar turns to January 1st, it feels like we're worried because it's a new year and everything's brand new. It can feel like the world expects you to wipe the slate clean and move on. For moms who've lost a baby, pregnancy loss, stillbirth, that's just not how grief works. We don't get a clean slate. Each year isn't a reset for us. It's a continuation of our journey. Your baby's memory remains part of your story, no matter how many years go by. While it does appear to get easier, I don't know that it does. I think it's just you have a different understanding of it. You have a different comprehension of it. You start to create a life that makes sense again. But there's always that piece of you that wonders, what if? That memory is always there year after year. The fear of leaving your baby behind often comes from the fact that time is a thief and crossing into a new year might feel like you're distancing yourself from those moments you had with your baby, the pregnancy and the hopes and the dreams you had feel that much further away. It can, if you let it, make you feel stuck or overwhelmed. Here's what I want you to know. Moving into a new year doesn't mean forgetting. You're never going to forget. Your baby's memory is not really tied to just that year. Their place is with you forever. You get to keep them forever and bring them with you every single year into the new year. Why do you think it causes so much anxiety for a stillbirth mom to put up a new calendar? For so many people, the year that you lost your baby is just a marker of time. It holds that connection to when you saw your baby. Maybe it was the year you became a mom for the first time, and then they aren't physically here. Moving into a new year can feel like you're leaving a piece of your identity as their mother behind. And then there's the pressures from society, which are not usually helpful. The new year, new you doesn't help. The new year, new you messaging really doesn't apply to stillbirth moms. It feels like it really invalidates our grief. And as you know, it grief is up and down and around and around. There's no timeline. There's nobody that can say to do this one thing, or if you just do this, it will get better and you'll get over it. You'll never stop feeling connected to your baby. Just because the calendar changes, it's impossible. I can tell you that 25 years out, that is impossible. If you're feeling that pressure, that January signifies like, okay, it's a fresh start. I've got to get over this. I've got to snap out of this grief. Don't do that to yourself. It doesn't make sense. You can't do it, and it will just cause you more pain. Now that we've talked about why you may be feeling that way, let's focus on how can you feel a little better? How can you carry your baby's memory into the new year in a way that feels maybe more comforting and meaningful? Here's a few ideas that might be helpful. The first thing is start a new tradition that on January 1st or December 31st, you write your baby a letter, letting them know how old they would be, what you imagine they would be like, what you imagine they would be doing, just some words that you feel you need to say to them. It can be a really beautiful tradition and one that makes you feel really connected. It should be a celebration. Something else might be getting some sort of physical reminder. I love the idea of memorial jewelry. I know lots of people do tattoos. I'm too scared to commit to one design that I can never remove from my body. So I love jewelry because you can rechange it and remove it. Maybe something physical like that. Go ahead, buy yourself something special, some item of jewelry. Maybe it's a tattoo for you, something that can serve as sort of a little tangible connection. And anytime you're feeling anxious or sad, like you're really missing them, you can just touch that jewelry and there they are. It's like they're right there with you all the time. I love jewelry and memorial things like that, that you can take with you all the time. Maybe you want to start a tradition that you donate something or do random acts of kindness in your baby's name. There's lots of opportunities in January as people are looking for things to do, tax deductions, all of that. You can really help someone out, make a difference. I can list a couple of my favorites in the show notes, some of my favorites that are past podcast guests who I know are doing really amazing things with the money that they get that is specifically helping lost moms and lost parents. I will list those in my show notes for you in case you're thinking about contributing to. Knowing that you're spreading the love in their honor can feel really good. It's a great way to start the new year. The last thing is so important, and people don't do it enough, is don't be afraid to share your baby's name and story with others. Talking about them helps keep their memory alive, and it reinforces that they were here, the purpose, even though their time was not nearly long enough. Talk about them with your partner, someone close to you. I frequently mention to my husband, my sister, my close friends, just little random things like how old they would be. My twins would be this old right now, or, they would be graduating from high school, whatever it is. What might this year bring up for you that might be a milestone you want to share with someone else? Sharing that with someone else is your way of speaking their name out in the open. It makes you feel really good. 9 times out of 10, people around me, when I do things like that, don't react negatively. Listen and understand and remember with me, which is really nice. Maybe a memory from your pregnancy at that time or anything you can think of. Most people in your life will just listen without feeling like they have to comment. And here's the magical thing about talking about your baby to others. It keeps their memory alive. The more you do it, it eases others' awkwardness about it because they're not worried that if you talk about this baby or your loss or anything that happened in this tragic situation that is going to make you spiral into sadness. When they see you talking about your baby and smiling, thinking about what would have been and talking about them with love and admiration, it helps them and eases the awkwardness. It allows you to be more open with these people many years down the road. It feels really good. Here are a few steps that can help you ease into the transition of going from this year to next year. The first thing is just feel however you feel. It's okay to feel sad, scared, or even angry about the new year. Just recognize that and know that you don't have to be consumed by them. Write them down if that's helpful, or write that letter to that baby. I think that's a great practice to bring your feelings together in a positive way by sharing with your baby what your dreams and hopes would be for them this year and how much you love them and how you are loving them from afar. Ease that anxiety. Take one day at a time. You don't have to plan the entire year. This might not be the year for you to be doing goals and things like that. Just focus on the next step. For some moms, it's all you can do to get out of bed day after day. Grief doesn't follow a linear path, and it's not supposed to. Be gentle to yourself and do what feels right, one day at a time. If New Year's Eve celebrations feel too much, set some boundaries. It's okay. It's okay if this year is not a typical New Year's Eve. If you had your loss this year, it's not going to be. Protect your energy, create your own quiet way of marking the occasion, and moving into the new year with as much ease as you can find. And lean into your support system. Share your feelings with someone you trust, whether it's your partner, your friend, maybe it's a support group. Talking about it helps you feel less alone, especially when you can connect with someone who's been through it, who understands where you're coming from. And just be compassionate to yourself. Remember that you're doing the best you can. No one could ever prepare you for what this journey is like. We all are just doing it day to day, and you're doing the best you can. Be okay with moments of grief, peace, and joy. They're all going to be there at different times. So just don't judge yourself. I want to remind you that your baby's memory is not confined to a single year. Just because this year moves on does not mean that this part of your journey is over. That does not mean that they are with you forever. They're with you now. They're with you in your future. And just because we're entering a new year doesn't mean you're leaving them behind or forgetting them. You have permission to grieve, and you have permission to hope. You have permission to feel sad, and you have permission to smile. You have permission to honor your baby, and you have permission to embrace the possibilities of a new year that might include a new baby. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's only your way. And that is the perfect way for you. Thank you for letting me walk alongside you on this journey. If you are interested in a complimentary support session with me, just click the link in the show notes. It can make all the difference for you to speak to someone who has been where you are, who understands your journey and has ideas of how to help you through it. You're not alone. And until next week, I am sending you so much love.